Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Odds here, and it is Wednesday. It's a wow Wednesday. It's a what Wednesday? It's a what the hell Wednesday. It's a Wednesday where we still don't have a Toronto Raptors coach, and everybody's like, "Whoa, wait, when are we going to get a coach?" And Trevor's in here saying, "Good morning, everyone. It's today. We're going to hear the good news today. Of course, a new coach for the Toronto Raptors. It has been 50 days. We have been coachless with Nick Nurse's firing last month or a month and a half ago. It was so long ago, and we still don't have a coach in Toronto. Some Raptors fans are restless and feeling crazy. Like, why don't we have a coach? It's so unsettled in such a weird situation to be in. The analysts are still pointing fingers like Brian Winders would. Who is the coach of the Toronto Raptors that Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster will be hiring in the very near future? I don't know at this point. We've gone all over the place with different candidates in the last month and a half. And we have heard, like, well, this person isn't in the running anymore. And this person's been hired by this team. And it's just how it is at this point that we are at a place where we got to hire a coach still, Masai. And I'm sure we will. Once again, we're really waiting for this. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna talk about Darko today. Darko Rajakovic, assistant coach of the Memphis Grizzlies under Taylor Jenkins. He has quite a story to him, one that we would be very happy to have on our team. Also, looking into him, he is kind of similar to Jordy in a lot of ways, guys. You know, I talked a lot about Jordy Fernandez in the last week and him possibly coming and coaching the Toronto Raptors. Well, Darko Rajakovic has a very similar kind of resume. He has a very extensive experience in Serbia as far as like he started out coaching youth leagues and he won the youth league championship a few years in Serbia coaching the youngsters. And then he got noticed and he got more and more attention because there was a lot of press on him at that time. He was kind of famous for a period of time because he was just like the hot topic in international basketball. And then, you know, he came stateside and he's been a part of a couple of different teams. He was with the Phoenix Suns for a while in there, and he's been more recently with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Amit Mann had an interview with somebody from the Grizzlies, a media personality from the Grizzlies, talking about Darko's impact on the Grizzlies and the things that he does for that team. He very much is somebody who sets up their offense. He's somebody that really knows how to get more out of players. In fact, he's credited with kind of unlocking Desmond Bane. He's credited with kind of unlocking Jaren Jackson Jr., who wouldn't have a Defensive Player of the Year this year, possibly without the influence of Darko Rajakovic. In fact, the interview was it was very interesting. Amit's asking him, well, what do you think he'd do with Scotty Barnes? What do you think he'd do with Pascal Siakam? He's like, well, with Pascal Siakam, he definitely unlocked more of his passing potential that is really into like making Jaren Jackson more of a passer on the Grizzlies, that he would try and do this kind of thing with Pascal. And you know, the stuff with Scotty could be very interesting. So Darko Rajakovic, as my dad made a bad joke yesterday, is the Darko horse in this coach's search, but he may actually end up being the guy. If we think about the history of the Raptors and how international we are, Jean Tabak, and all the different years of different international players playing on our team over the last 25 years, that it makes sense that if we're going to get a coach, his name might be Darko. So I'm really kind of more interested in Darko at this point because in some ways he's the most similar to Jordy, that if we're not going to get Jordy, let's get Darko. Now, apparently, he is really hardworking guy. His degree is in sports management. So in some ways, he's kind of more on the business side, maybe the roster kind of rotation side of things. But he also has a very warm demeanor and spirit. He is definitely not a Nick Nurse kind of asshole. He's definitely the kind of guy that has a warm part to him that can interact with the players alongside with the X's and O's side that can be very tough too. So once again, I like coaches in these coaches candidates for the Raptors to have two sides of them, a hard side and a soft side. Because if you don't have that soft side in today's NBA with the young players who are kind of want to be coddled, a little bit of like, oh, you're so good, we love you, and a little bit of like, get out there and run. You know, they need a little bit of a dichotomy between the harshness and the softness in your coach. Well, apparently Darko has that. In fact, people love Darko in Memphis. They talk about the dark period in Memphis Grizzlies franchise right now. They're talking about Darko. They're talking about the Darko influence on their team. And Taylor Jenkins will tell you very, very much that Darko Rajakovic has been a huge contributor to their coaching staff and what they've been doing in their success with the Grizzlies in the last couple of years. So listen, I got to look at all these people and find out who they are and let y'all know and see what you guys think about what I'm saying about Darko Rajakovic this morning. Like I said, he may be the most like Jordy if we don't get Jordy. And, he's got the two sides to him. They're kind of nice as far as he's very much X's and O's and technical, knows all kinds of crazy plays. He's written papers on pick and rolls. He's done a lot of the similar things that Sergio and Jordy have done, but also he's got the personality to get along with the players, whether he needs to be tough on them or a little nice. So I like that. Let's see what else y'all are saying this morning. Good morning to Dana. Dana always first in. I love Dana coming in and being first. She doesn't say first. She says, good morning, everyone. I love to see that so much. Good morning to you also. Buck Thorne is in the house. I thought I got rid of you yesterday, Buck Thorne. You don't even know the pile of dead buckthorn that's sitting in that cottage yard right now from yesterday after I saw y'all last. I went on a tear against the buckthorn on the property. And boy, buckthorn, it's really something that you're showing your face around here this morning again. Yeah, buckthorn. But good morning to you, Freakosauruses. Turns out the Doug Smith article was BS, and Jordy certainly is still in the running. Thank God. Fuck you, Doug Smith, with your stupid ass shit from the Toronto Star. I'm so sick of your garbage, bro. You've been coming around with stupid garbage for a long time around the Raptors, and I'm sick of it, Doug. Stop being a fountain of misinformation. Listen, I'm on YouTube. I don't get paid for this, and I'm still more reliable than you are, Doug Smith. Oh, my God. And you get paid, and you've been doing this newspaper thing for how many decades? Get it right, Doug Smith. Quit feeding the misinformation to the Raptors Nation. We need to know what's real and what's happening, Mr. Doug Smith. Yeah, all right. Thanks for clarifying that, Buck Thorne. Yeah, good to see you. Of course it was BS and full of crap. Yeah, that punk-ass motherfucker, Doug Smith. Once again, I'm cussing his ass in the morning. Oh, my gosh. All right, Cool Cat's in the house. Good morning to the Raptor Free crew. Cool Cat. Ooh, that first night of battle in WNBA fantasy game with Cool Cat and I. She has got the lead on me right now. Ooh, it's on, Cool Cat. We got to get our lineups ready all week long because it's going to be a battle right to the end, I can tell. But always good to see you, Cool Cat. I'm so calm about our coach's situation. I have confidence in my front office. I saw OG and the other players working at OVO with Rico and the other staff. I'm so glad Cool Cat brought this up. Yesterday, there was a media bomb on Instagram of the Raptors account of a bunch of the Raptors working out at OVO Center yesterday. So awesome to see an OG sighting in June. When you see OG somewhere in June, that's a good sign because sometimes we don't see OG from like May until September. But OG Anunoby at the OVO Center with a bunch of our Raptors, a bunch of them in all these pictures there. And I love seeing them all working out and getting together and with Rico Hines. So, yes, very, very awesome stuff. If you've not seen the pictures on there, it's like Christian, Delano, Ron Harper Jr., Precious, OG. They're all there working together. A good chunk of the Raptors roster is at OVO yesterday working out. Always love to see that, and especially OG. Now, in some of those pictures, did Precious look bigger? Like, I don't know what it was. There was one picture of Precious Achua where he looked like he was stronger and bigger around here, around like his chest, neck area. I don't know. Maybe it's just that he grew a beard out or something. But to me, some reason he looked thicker up top in some certain ways. So, yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Cool Cat. And always good to see you. Buck Thorne saying Jordy is not out of the running. Fake news. Thank God. Well, we'll just have to see. Jordy Fernandez, new Toronto Raptors head coach. Woo! Yeah, baby! Woo! Let's go! Yeah, we getting hyped on this. Yeah, I got up on the right side of the bed, if you can't tell. Oh, my gosh, yeah. All right, let's see. Tom Duke is in the house. West Coast Raptor Freaks in the house. Victoria, British Columbia in the house. Yes, let's see what Tom's looking at the paper and saying going to happen in moments. It's gotta. Then it will be a small landslide of moves. You know what? That'd be so crazy. If this is breaking news while I'm live today, please break the news to me so we can have a live reaction to the new hiring of the new Toronto Raptors head coach. Let's go. Yes. Yes. The tyranny of Nick Nurse is over. Yes. Good morning, Raptor Freak family from Tom Duke. He's got his hands up like this, and he's got 5 Raptors ready to play. But who's the coach? We don't know yet, but we will soon, hopefully. Buck Thorne is saying Michael Grange once told us that Toronto will select Jaden Suggs without a question. Yeah, fuck him too. Fuck you, Doug Smith. Fuck you, Michael Grange. You bastards. You always misinforming Raptors fans and writing fluff pieces and writing hit pieces. Masai's going to Washington. Fuck you, Michael Grange. I have not forgotten about that article. And you can go to hell. All right, Nako the Nacho is here. Good to see Nako. Y'all, check out Gerald. He's at Comedy Bar or someplace in town somewhere this week doing some shows. Gerald, plug your show in the comments today, my good friend, and tell us where you're going to be appearing on stage doing your stand-up, because we love to see Gerald on stage, Gerald Mayhew. So let's see. Memphis has a real good system. I prefer Jordy, but Darko does sound pretty good. I think Pascal and Scotty are good at passing already, probably at the top for position. If Darko can unlock a level, that's what I'm saying. Like the one thing that I really want from either Jordy or Darko, if they come and coach our team, is getting better synergy between our players. These guys were not connecting. You know, in the scientist lab, they have those big orbs that have to connect the electricity to make Frankenstein's monster rise up. It's alive. You can't have nothing if that energy ain't to the middle from those orbs. And what we had last year in our offense was a bunch of orbs just going, but not connecting in the middle with that synergy. And that's what I want from our next coach. Nick Nurse, you failed at getting the guys interlocked and having chemistry building because you did not use them off each other with pick and roll, give and go, all kinds of offside cuts that you could have been doing with our team. We're so talented. You failed, Nick Nurse. So maybe we can get Darko or Jordy to come in and set them up with some great off the ball plays, some great two-man games, some great synergy growing with our team so we see a more cohesive, effective, efficient offense finally. Yeah, our defense is real good, but our offense sucked the last 2 years. We're going to fix that real soon, I hope. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. Good to see you, Nako, as always. And like I said, we got to do our stream together. You and me, come over and we're going to do a stream together. You and me, you co-hosting with me. That'd be awesome. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey Salcero, one of the best Raptor freaks. Scotty Barnes, Twitch family, 2022, all forever. Fiercey Salcero, always good to see you. Let's see what Fiercey's saying this morning. She is saying that, good morning, fam. So much noise on the next coach conversation. People are saying Masai doesn't know what he's doing. Apparently, Jordy wasn't called for interview number 2. I'll just wait for the outcome. Yeah, I think that people take that as a symbol as he's out of the running. That's why they're trying to say that. But you know what? Listen, it could be that they already talked to him enough that they know who he is and they don't need to call him in for a second interview. And they're just kind of got him in consideration still. I don't know. They're so tight-lipped, the front office of the Toronto Raptors, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster. And thank goodness. I'm glad they're this way. But yeah, we can't really say for certain anything is off the table. I could see them going all of a sudden. Our new coach today is Mike Budenholzer. And then everybody like, what? Budenholzer is going to Toronto? Something crazy like that could happen. And then everybody's heads will explode in the media. Like, wow, why didn't we know? Masai didn't tell you motherfuckers because you suck. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. All right. Shir Khan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Raptor Freak Rookie of the Year for 2023. Shir Khan's in the house. It looks like Raps are taking their time. It really does look like it. Probably waiting for finals to finish their assistant coaches to be available. Saying Jordy was out, then back in. I don't know. Masai keeps cards close to his chest. Yeah, we don't know. That's just the most truthful thing anybody could say, whether it's the Doug Grange or Doug Smith or Michael Grange, is we don't know. I'm going to say that too. I don't know. So they should be saying they don't know. Who knows? Masai knows, and that's who knows. But yeah, we don't know who's out. And this could be true, what Shirkan's saying. It could be David Edelman or Chris Quinn are our top, like, people, some targets for possibly trying to hire. It seems like the success that Spoelstra is having on this playoff run with the Heat coming from the play-in is making his stock rise as a coach. They're now saying that he could command 20 to 25 million a year as a coach because he's done so well over his tenure with the Miami Heat. What do you want? You want a mini Spoelstra? Chris Quinn is that guy. He's been working underneath him for a while. And there is a big contingency of Raptors fan nation that would love to see Chris Quinn be the next head coach of the Toronto Raptors. David Edelman on the other side under Michael Malone on the Nuggets is another one that could possibly be part of the reasoning for this also, as far as what Shir Khan's saying. So if we see the Raptors get a fresh assistant coach off of one of these finals teams, we'll know why it took so long. That is probably what it is. I'm going to guess. Shir Khan's right. G saying, watch yesterday's video. I missed some comedy gold. Welcome, Buckthorn. Yeah, G, it was pretty silly. Buckthorn is our new friend. And now that Nameless has a name, it sounds like a porn star name. Yeah, it was some comedy gold yesterday. We'll try and keep it loose and fun on the Raptor Freak channel for sure. Mike is here. Good to see Mike. We missed Mike yesterday also. Salute the Real Ones Project Truth always. Check out Logical Raptors Fanatic. Just hitting it out of the park the last couple of weeks with his content. Just really informative, good, incisive, deep insight on the interviews with the Raptors at the end of the season. Really trying to parse out what the hell happened with our team this year for why we had the outcome that we did and such underachieving, bad, not as best as we could have been this year. Well, Mike is on the case. He's trying to figure it out as long with me, and we're piecing it together. So definitely check out his content. He definitely has answers for some of the problems this past year, especially in that Chris Boucher piece he just put out. You'll see, if you watch that, exactly why the Raptors suck this year. Chris says it with his own 2 words, and we totally understand why now. Let's see. Mike is saying, people acting wild at the moment. A lot of armchair GMs talking like they know better than Masai, and they think doing proper due diligence on head coaches is a bad GMing. Yeah. These people, once again, are in microwave culture. They want everything cooked up in like minutes and ready right away. This is better. Seriously. I think that most people in society today forgot that the best things take time, and that this is kind of what we're doing right now. Why are we in a hurry? What's a rush? The players are working out. They're fine. They're happy. Rico's at the combine, checking out all the new young players. We don't need the coach right away. And what if it's exactly what Shir Khan was saying? We're waiting for somebody who's involved in the finals right now to be less busy so that we can actually give them a good shot with an interview. In some ways, it makes a lot of sense to get one of those coaches that I named, David Edelman or Chris Quinn, because they're coming with a full head of steam from being in the finals. And if you can steal the number 1 assistant from a finals team for your new head coach, that could be a very good thing. So be patient, Raptor fans. This may be exactly why it's taking so long. And yeah, the armchair quarterbacks are stupid. Mike, tell them they're stupid. Tell them to shut the fuck up. Isaac saying 30 years ago, we lost a great number 4. Drazen Petrovic was a solid player. Wow. I didn't know that's the anniversary today, Isaac. Thank you for mentioning Drazen Petrovic, a very much an NBA legend. He is definitely a legend. Not just a legend in Europe, because he is for sure over there, but he is a legend in the United States because of his very short, brief time playing for the Blazers and the Nets. This guy was something else. He could really score. He was one of those players back then that Michael Jordan really respected. There weren't a lot of guys in the league that Michael respected, and Drazen Petrovic was one of them. So if this is the anniversary of his death 30 years ago today, man, he is still missed. And, in some ways, people don't talk enough about Petrovic and who he was and what he did in the NBA and just in basketball in general. He was very special. And he didn't really get to fully realize everything he was going to do in the NBA because of the sad automobile accident on the German Autobahn 30 years ago today. Yeah, wow, Isaac. Thanks for bringing a name from the past up on the Raptor Freak stream, talking about Drazen today. Yeah, Randolph Phillips is here. Always good to see Mr. Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freak, most informative gang. I'm sure that there's a plan by the front office. Shock and awe is coming. I love this. Yeah, let's be shock and awe this year as the Raptors. This is the thing. We want somebody who wants to be very creative with offense. Well, we've got some really interesting players to try and put into an offensive system in all kinds of creative ways. Now that we have Jakob Poeltl, that really does open up things for pick and rolls in certain ways that may really be key if we get one of these European coaches that we keep talking about, Sergio, Jordy, Darko. Those three guys all really know how to utilize the pick and roll offense. And Nick Nurse, man, you showed it at times when Jakob showed up at the trade deadline, but you really didn't use it enough, honestly. There was so much gold between Fred and Jakob and Pascal, Jakob and Scotty. There's so many ways you can play Jakob off other people to get so much good offensive opportunity. Nick, you squandered it. You didn't even try and dig into it. You're just kind of busy doing whatever the fuck you're doing with Clutch. So, yeah, all right, let's see. Keep it on going. Always good to see you, Randolph, and blessings to the Phillips family as always. Let's see. Isaac saying 4, 9, 10, 5, 44, 3. Drazen also wore. These are all the numbers that he wore when he played. Yeah. You know, I have some Drazen Petrovic basketball cards in my collection. And I think I even have a rookie of his. And it's a very nice card to have. I love it. Fiercey's saying, you're right, Lex. Precious did look bigger in the picture. Also, it was nice to see most of them training at OVO. Pascal, Gary Trent, and Fred are doing their thing too. Yeah, they're not the only ones that are at OVO. These other guys are in different places working out. I'm pretty sure Fred's in Illinois. I'm not sure where Pascal is. He may be in LA right now. And then a lot of people are down in Miami, including the Trents. Gary Trent Sr. posting Gary Trent this morning, working out pretty hard down in Miami with some people down there. So, and then Freddie, he's on Instagram with the medicine ball doing some heavy lifting work as usual too. So I'll do the Instagram check real quick. For real quick. Well, first we got Dubber Don up. He's reposting the Raptors practice pictures, and it says summer sessions. And that's what those guys are doing. They're putting work in and getting some chemistry. It's really good that the young core are down there all together. Delano, Christian, Ron Harper Jr., Precious. Those guys being down there all together at OVO yesterday. Continue doing that, please, and just hang out with Rico a lot. And then he's putting on blast Canadian female Chance Berry, who's on the under 16 Canada roster. He's very proud of her for making that team, Delano Banton. Chris Boucher is working out. He's doing a lean in the pictures I'm looking at here. He's doing it's just step. There's Ibrahim working out with him, helping him out, everybody's uncle. And yeah, that offseason work continues for Chris. Those guys are smiling, though, having a good time. And he's also saying, but you were on Instagram. He says, I don't care if I was on there. I'll reply when I reply. Yeah, you go, Chris. No, he's not going to talk to you if you're in his DMs. He said, you want to talk to yourself? Put yourself in my DMs. You'll be talking to yourself. That's what Chris says. All right, Lloyd is saying that God knows exactly what he's doing. And then yesterday, Scotty did a photo dump of his trip to Dominican a couple weeks ago with pictures of Lloyd and other friends like Jonathan with him down in the islands. And they were doing cave diving, jumping into an underwater cave and swimming around in there. Scotty has a really neat message about life and about going out there and doing things and being a doer and getting things done. So Scotty's all about that right now. As I said, Freddie lifting weights in some sort of gym. I'm going to guess that gym is somewhere in Illinois because he's been showing signs that he is in Illinois right now. But yeah, he's got the heavy ball. He's got the big lift weight, and he's working on that hand strength so he can go strip the ball away from everybody next season some more. But I like seeing Freddie working hard in the gym. It'd be nice if he was at OVO, but hey, it's all right. Joe Weezy, with the new news that his wife is pregnant, is doing posts of food now on his Instagram. He's got a picture of his wife's meal, it looks like. It looks crazy. The plate looks crazy too. Ron Harper Jr. showing the picture of him and Delano working at OVO on his Instagram. And Scotty, as I said, he's got the pictures of him and Jonathan living the life in Dominican and just having a nice time on that trip. Yeah, and so happy to see Gary Trent Sr. and Jr. hanging out a lot this summer and working out in different places. Is definitely Gary is putting in that work that Gary Trent Sr. demands of him. Next thing you know, he'll be out on the beach, run around in the sand around a bunch of cones in Miami. And then Thad Young also putting on blast, of course, all of his youth leagues, his sons, and his different businesses that he has investments in. All right, there's your Raptors Instagram check for today. All kinds of stuff. They're all working out, which is good. This is what we want to see from these guys. Let's keep going. Trevor's here. Good to see Trevor saying Miami and Denver tonight. Let's see who's going to win. Who wants it most? That's right. Game 3 of the finals is tonight. Denver at Miami Heat. And I've got your ref report. Let's go ahead and check us out who the referees are tonight. You know, we're talking about out of Oakland, California last week. Tony. Well, it's Tony Brothers. He's from not from California, though. He's actually from Virginia. But yeah, Tony Brothers is the lead crew chief tonight for the game. He favors the Denver Nuggets, y'all. Just so you know, historically, he has a better winning percentage with the Nuggets than he does with the Miami Heat. Now, Josh Tiven is the second ref. He also favors the Denver Nuggets in Miami tonight. So he has a better win percentage for the Nuggets. And then finally, Kevin Scott is the third ref, and he once again also favors the Denver Nuggets. So we have a very friendly ref crew to the Nuggets in comparison to Miami at home. So who knows what's going to happen? You know, they may have been very lucky to get that last game in Denver, the Heat. So we'll see if the Nuggets will get that home court advantage back in Miami by stealing one back on their home court. So there's your ref report for tonight. Tony Brothers, Josh Tiven, and Kevin Scott, all three favor the Denver Nuggets tonight. Just so you know, put your bets in smart, knowing that information right there. Yeah, Iceman like Gervin's here. Good to see Iceman like Gervin. Listen, you're kind of like a legend to me because I've seen you in all the Raptors Tonight chats, always talking about you're the minutes police. And I love what you're doing on there, talking about the minutes police. Well, now that Nick Nurse, the terrorist, is gone, I don't know how much you got a minutes police. Hopefully the new coach will not be breaking the law of the minutes police next year. But I am honored to have you in the stream with us today, Iceman like Gervin. Your reputation precedes you, and I have noticed you in the Raptors nation and the fan nation already, and I'm very honored that you found our stream and you're here with us today. All right, let's see. No one knows anything concrete about how the Raptors are moving. It's all media hype, speculation, and clickbait. Yeah, I hope you don't say that to me because I mean, in some ways, it is clickbait for me, but it's the hot topic. And at least this is a fan-oriented kind of way to talk about it without me being like, oh, I know who it is, and it's just who it is. It's none of my ego. I just want to talk about it like you guys would if we're hanging out, and let's kind of like figure it out in some ways. But I really do think that candidate list, that short list last week, is probably pretty accurate. It seems like it makes sense when you think about Jordy, Sergio, and Darko, that, you know, they're all European and they're also kind of like new offensive kind of like minded kind of people that could actually really kind of like change our team in an area where we have problems. But seriously, once again, thanks for being here. And you're exactly right. These motherfuckers don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Doug Smith, Michael Grange, or even me. But at least I'll admit it. Let's see. Mike's saying Iceman, facts. But they're logically deducted from the position the Raptors are in and what moves were made. Example, trading next year's first for Pirtle means we are not aiming to tank next season and try at the moment. I think that's why that move infuriated people so much, because the tank people realize, well, they got Jakob Pirtle. There are definitely not any plans to tank anytime soon, because in some ways, Pirtle being around is anti-tanking. That's part of the reason why San Antonio moved them to us, to get that last little piece, to make sure they got Wemby landed on their team. Pirtle could have messed that up by stealing a couple wins near the end of the season and lowering their chances with the ping pong balls. So in some ways, that's how we helped San Antonio get to Victor Wembanyama, was they unloaded Pirtle so they would not win, because Pirtle still wanted to win. He's still trying. But Coach Pop told him at the beginning of the season, he said, don't foul anybody. Don't touch anyone. Just let them score. He literally told them to do that this season while they were trying to tank for Wemby. So, yeah, this was a sign that we're not tearing down our core, that we're not sellers at the trade deadline. We're buyers. And that infuriated a certain percentage of our fan nation because they really want to just start over. These crazy, destructive motherfuckers, we're creating, we're building, we're not destroying. There's already been quite a bit of destruction around our team since the end of the season. And, Nick Nurse is a huge part of it. And we want to keep what we have that's still good here. So everybody's calling for Masai's head. Shut the fuck up. In fact, tell me your address so I can come over and talk to you personally of why I fucking hate you for coming for Masai's head right now. Because we need Masai on this team now more than ever. We're in a weakened state without a strong coach. And we need to get that coach in there. We need some of our foundational pieces to be strong once again, since Nick Nurse decided to be a little fucking Hollywood fuck face with his little ego and all his bullshit. Well, fuck off, Nick. And we'll get somebody who will be more steady and trustful for us. Because we couldn't trust Nick anymore. We had to fire him. And everybody who thinks Masai messed up by firing him realized Nick forced his hand to fire him. And he did a strong thing. And he called his bluff. Honestly, Nick didn't think we had the guts or balls to fire him. Well, we did. We don't negotiate with terrorists. You can ask Kawhi Leonard, and you can just go on, move along. That's how it works. Yeah. So there we go. Buck Thornton. I'm gonna make a real life Buck Thorne YouTube. You're gonna make a YouTube with your name, Buck Thorne. What's the content, Buck Thorne? Like, seriously, but YouTube won't let you change it for 2 weeks. Oh, okay. That's cool, man. Whatever, man. If we get spinoff off this channel because of some silly war I have against a weed in the cottage yard, this is hilarious. Honestly, sometimes the weirdest things are spawned from the weirdest things. And this sounds like what's happening here with Buck Thorne and his YouTube channel. Seymour's here. Good to see Seymour Pape. Sheriff Seymour Pape in the house. He's regulating, y'all. Regulators, mount up. Seymour Pape's in the house. And he's got the new hashtag we love, Rely on Masai. It used to be Trust in Masai, but now it's Rely on Masai because we like rhymes. Let's see. He's tapping in with the gang. Top of the day, Raptor Freaks. Y'all the best. Fuck the rest. Yes, peace out. Seymour Pape holding it down in the central part of Canada in the middle provinces. That's right. We love you, Seymour, and I hope you have a fantastic hump day. It's Wednesday, baby. Get out there and get it. Fiercely saying Nick Nurse thought his musical gala event was sufficient in terms of team building. Why wouldn't you take them to something like the Rocky exhibit in Philadelphia or the Tupac Museum this season? No, there were no field trips for the Raptors on Open Gym this year. It was all sadness and anger and weirdness because the team wasn't winning. We didn't have any time to go on a team building fun exercise this year because Nick was in his feelings and he's full of shit this season. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Why aren't y'all doing feel good things? Like go on a photo op, like go see something. I don't know, like go to the ROM and take pictures of yourself at the ROM or the zoo or something. Just do something, Raptors. Jeez. There was none of that this year because there was too much infighting with the assistant coaches and the coach and the dumb stuff going on the underneath that nobody knew about this season. It wasn't the players, it was the coaches and their bullshit that were causing problems. Yeah. But yeah, that gala was fun. I mean, there was dancing and some good artists and, fun stuff. But yeah, where was the other fun for the Raptors, like bowling or something? I don't know. There was none of that. Nako's saying, I got a show on June the 26th at the Poorhouse on DuPont. I'm doing 10 minutes. Come on out. All right, y'all. Go to the Poorhouse on June the 26th of this month. You can see Nako the Nacho do his stand-up on the stage. He's really funny. Trust me. I've been around him. He was, when he started out, we used to workshop jokes, him and I would give him jokes. I said, you could use that, Gerald, on stage if you want, I was trying to work with him. We used to write comedy together. So we have a background with that together. But I will highly recommend go see Gerald Mayhew on June the 26th at the Poorhouse on DuPont in Toronto. That's right. Iceman like Gervin is saying this next. The fact is that assistant coaches on NBA Finals teams can interview on off game days. Mike Brown was named the Kings head coach during the playoffs just last season. It has happened many times in the past. Okay. Or maybe Masai's just being polite. Isn't that our way here in Canada to be thoughtful and say, I don't want to bug Chris Quinn while they're in the middle of the finals right now. You're exactly right, though. And I do remember this about Mike Brown, that, they can get hired on the off days and stuff like that. So I don't know what's going on. These are just, once again, we're all just speculating. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So we just kind of reason it out and what makes sense. And this could be plausible about waiting. But then again, is it? Because what Iceman like Gervin's saying, well, we could interview them when they have like 2 days off every game. So there's like 2 days they just had nothing to do. And the assistant coaches are pretty busy trying to make us adjustments and kind of like talking to the head coach and like, what do we do next? How do we win against the Nuggets in game 3? And, they're talking all that stuff. But you may be right. Their names haven't really been written up very or have been put in our face too much. A little bit of David Edelman. He's kind of been put on blast a little bit as far as a candidate. Chris Quinn, not as much, but he has been on the list of possible people. It's very likely they've both been felt out about like interviewing, and who knows, but we haven't heard a lot of stuff about them. But who knows? Like we've been saying, the media doesn't know jack shit. Nobody does. Sheer Khan saying, this just dawned on me. What if the new coach does a better job with Flynn, Banton, Doughton, and Koloko? This could transform our lineup with ready-made bench plus Otto's back and out, and we get a 13th pick. Believe, hashtag believe. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was a cop out all along. Nick Nurse saying we don't have enough good players for me to play them. Bullshit. He just had a crazy ass defensive scheme where he wanted them to all run ragged. And some of those guys just couldn't do that system. So he froze them out and they didn't get minutes hardly. It really was like a 7 or 8 man rotation this whole entire year. And there was just haves and have nots on the Raptors. I want a coach that is like gifted enough and smart enough to really utilize a talent like Koloko or Jeff Doughton or Delano off the bench in really smart role specific ways, instead of like, you have to conform to our overall system and perform it at a certain level for you to get playing time. Bullshit. Find that specialty things that they do. This is what championship teams and good teams throughout the whole history of the NBA have done. They have role players, dudes that do niche things. And, they don't have to be all around Super Mario and Mario Brothers. They can be a little Luigi or Princess Peach or a little bit of Toad. They don't have to be the all around average that can do everything. You just got to figure out how to put them in with different units and make them work. Nick was so experimental and trying different things all the time. I felt like he never actually went too far with discovering stuff. He'd be like, oh, let's try this. Oh, now let's try this. Oh, now let's try this. But he'd never do something long enough to make it a bread and butter, something that the Raptors got really good at that they could do constantly and be successful at. It was almost like you discover it, you find that it's successful. Okay, scrap it, hold it onto it, and put it in the toolbox for later. But we would see that shit never come back later. It would like, I just saw such an amazing thing in the last game against the Hawks. Why aren't we seeing it the next day against the Sixers? Is really weird shit. Like, I did not understand how Nick was coaching this team as far as changing schemes and moving stuff around, especially with our offensive stuff. It was so weird what he was doing. But I think this will be very true. I mean, obviously, you can get certain really good things out of Koloko. And, those other guys are very useful. It'd be really cool if we saw Malachi Flynn take a jump in his 4th season in the NBA because a new coach unlocked him somehow that Nick couldn't unlock him. That'd be very cool. Buck Thorne saying we're going to need our new rookie of the year. Shir Khan is almost a sophomore. Yeah, this is what Scotty was saying last year around this time on Twitch when people would come into his video game stream and say, you're a rookie of the year. And Scotty said, no, I'm not a rookie anymore. I'm a sophomore now. I played a year. He wanted very adamantly to grow up quickly and say, yeah, I'm not a rookie anymore, guys. Don't call me a rookie. I'm a sophomore. So he's like, what? You don't want to enjoy being the rookie of the year for at least a little while, at least the summer? He's like, no. He's already in that second year head of his career. In fact, I was calling him a 2-year vet already, like 1 year in the NBA, and he's already a vet. Well, that may have been premature. His second year, he wasn't totally a vet yet, but he's getting there. His rookie mistakes will go down more and more as time goes on. Cool Cat saying Fred VanVleet got Junior and Sana in his basketball camp. They look so cute doing their drills. I know those pictures were very cute with Fred Jr. and Sana with their hand behind their back dribbling. That one-handed dribble drill. Very cute to see kids that young doing, a very difficult dribble. A lot of kids at that age just have to learn how to double dribble the ball. Like, but these kids are advanced. They got their hand behind their back and they're dribbling with one hand and dribbling up the court. And I'll bet you Fred's even telling them, keep looking straight, keep looking straight. He's not telling them, don't look down, don't look down. He's probably telling them that too. Get them that ball handling early, and we'll see where they go. Yeah, this will be interesting. What if Fred VanVleet Jr. is an all-star in like 20 years? That would be very fun. It'd be fun. Fred VanVleet Jr., NBA all-star. Yeah. Or in Sana, too. Like, she could be in the WNBA. Some things could happen. Mike saying, with proper due diligence, Masai can better predict how things will go over time. Looking at all the affected elements ensures there's a proper fit, hence getting a lot of decisions right the first time. In that Forbes interview recently with Masai Ujiri, they asked him, "What do you look for in your coach's search?" And he was very like open about it. He's like, "Well, we look at like what their plan is with our personnel that we already have. We look at like their track record, obviously, what they've already done. We look at like their personality and like how they fit like with our culture, and maybe we kind of maybe they do psychological kind of like kind of thinking about how they would fit with personalities on our team already. You know, there may be some introducing with some of the players that are around and saying, "Hey, come talk to Scotty for a sec," or something like that. You know, there's a lot of things that they may do that we don't even realize that they're like very in depth. Like they're probably doing FBI checks throughout their whole like life. So there's no weird underlying crazy thing like Emi Adoka stuff or anything weird that could blow up in their face. So they may have PIs involved in this too, where they're like, "Oh, you go investigate Jordy Fernandez and make sure he doesn't have any skeletons in the closet." You know, that kind of shit. You know, who knows? Like there may be so many parts to the coach's search that just aren't public that we have no idea that they're actually doing involved in it. And I listen, if any team in the league is going to do all kinds of crazy stuff to get it right, it's us. It really is us. Like other teams, I could see them half-assing it and stuff. In fact, watching Adrian Griffin's press conference yesterday in Milwaukee was very interesting. I like how they talked about how they found him and how they got him, and I'm so happy for him with that job. He deserves it after 15 years of being an assistant coach. He's finally going to be a head coach. It was just really nice to see Adrian get that kind of stuff in that press conference. And also, he very, very glowingly said thank you to his Toronto family for his time here. But he's very much a Bucks guy now. He started his head coaching career with Scott Skiles and the Bucks in 2008, and now things have come full circle, and he's their head coach. So you go coach Griff, except for when you play the Raptors. I'm excited for you in Milwaukee in some ways, and in some ways I will be rooting for you guys. I'm not going to be totally a hater to you like I am to Philly and Nick. But yeah, you know, within reason. And it really does sound like the relationship that Adrian and Giannis had naturally was a huge reason why he got the job. That Giannis really likes Adrian Griffin, and that's really good stuff. So the guy that was with Adrian in that press conference kind of explained his process for how he came about finding the coach and getting Adrian Griffin. So it's interesting how different people have different processes. And I'll bet you that Masai and Bobby's is a lot more crazy than we think in some ways. There may be some really underlying information that they really look at and they key on to think about how the fit would be besides just stats and stuff. It has to do with a lot. Marlon Toby's here. Good to see Raptor Free Marlon Toby, one of the originals. He's such a good guy. I miss you, Marlon. And I'm so happy when you do pop in from time to time and say hi. I lost faith in Nick when he let Phil Handy, Jama, and Patrick Mutombo leave. The team's development fell off a cliff hard. You know, this is a really good point by Marlon. I don't know if Nick could have stopped them, though. That's the kind of thing. It's like it's really weird in coach land. It's like you don't want to stop guys from getting, promotions like Adrian going to Milwaukee right now. Raptors fans can be all upset about this, but this is deserved for him. And yeah, it is a loss to our brain trust, but he's worked so hard to get to this level. And those names are also kind of similar thing. Now, Phil Handy's case was a little different. He's kind of like a coach caddy. He's kind of followed around big superstars like Kawhi and LeBron to wherever they're going. I'm hearing he's going to be possibly hired by Phoenix. I'm not sure if he's getting hired by I think I've heard that he's getting hired by Phoenix away from the Lakers this summer because of the new situation with Frank Vogel there, that he may be going to assistant coach for him this year. That's what I think I heard. And then Jama and Patrick Mutombo, well, in some ways, it's like, was that really like a promotion going from assistant to assistant? Well, I don't know. I don't know. In some ways, Mutombo's name became more like known because he went to Phoenix. And Jama, in some ways, is like he may be in line behind Kenny Atkinson on Steve Kerr's coaching chart as far as like who's the hierarchy of those coaches. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much Nick could have stopped them. But I think the point that you're making that our development stalled out and stopped at a certain point is exactly right. And it could coincide with some of these names that you've mentioned leaving. You know, that may be why the Raptors invested in Rico Hines last summer and said, we want you to be around all the time because we're losing really good development people around our team, like Jama Mahalea, Patrick Mutombo. We haven't even really mentioned the 905 and Eric Curry since Nick got fired. And I have no idea what is his status with the team because in some ways he was one of Nick's guys and he could have been fired also in the last month and we don't even know it. We'll find out when 905 stuff starts rearing up. Who is their coach still? It could still be Eric Curry. He may have been exempt from the firings and he may still be around, but I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. That's something we forgot totally about. What is the status of Eric Curry with our G League team? But yeah, I think you're right, Marlon. We've had a brain drain in our development part, and we've shown it recently. The last couple of years, we're not developing our young guys at the way we were when Fred and Pascal were young guys. Our young guy development is not working right with Delano and Coloco. We need somebody who's going to fix that this year. Yeah, we do. Let's see. David's here. Good to see David Saborin, a Raptor Freak trivia champion for this year already. I know he's going to get it. Next week will be the last game, I'm figuring, probably. Becky's going to be the coach next year. 1 year interim head coach, Bobby Webster or Rico. You want Bobby Webster to run our team for 1 year? That's funny. Okay, let who the fuck we fighting? Someone said something stupid in here. Uh-oh. He heard me cussing out Doug Smith earlier and he thought, oh, who are we going after? We're going after Doug Smith. Yeah, I was cursing the weeds outside. Yeah, it was. I'm at Adriana's right now, but I will be going back out to the cottage in a sec to continue the war on the weeds. But yeah, we're cussing Buckthorn, Doug Smith, and Michael Grange. That's who we're cursing right now, David. If you want the targets. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Like hold off a year because the timing isn't exactly right for another. See, you got to have a lot already planned out, though, David, to do that. Like you'd have to have an agreement with Becky Hammond and say, all right, after this season, you do your season with the Aces, but you're going to come and coach the Raptors next year. No, that's not how. I don't think they would do that. Now, if Rico is our interim coach for 1 year, that would be really weird, and it would kind of signal what you're saying, David. But I don't see us doing that. In some ways, that's wasting a year. We need somebody who's ready right now and ready to go. What if they announced that Jerry Stackhouse is our coach today? That would be totally out of left field, but not really because we talked about him at the very beginning of the coach's search, and maybe he was still always in the running. They just kept real quiet about it. It'll be real interesting to see what happens. Fiercely saying, Fan Nation is so impatient. I don't grasp how they cannot see the value of building and maintaining chemistry. Every time you hear tear down something, it takes time to rebuild. Just common sense. That's right. Especially like when you have something going pretty good, like you have a lot of good pieces, you have a lot of good things going. You got to be really smart about what you switch in and out. And some of these fans don't really understand what's good and not good on our team. Like they don't understand exactly where our assets really are. And they think they're easy to just get rid of and just magically have some young player come in and just take over those duties. The stuff with Fred VanVleet is very, very good example of this. The other thing we got to think about fiercely with this is that some of the people that are in our fan nation are very young and kind of immature and stupid. And, I don't expect a 10-year-old or 15-year-old to know basketball like I do at 47, watching the NBA since 1985. So, these kids, they don't know jack shit about basketball because they don't have enough history of watching the sport and how it's evolved and all the history with all the superstars and everything. So a lot of these guys were not even born when Vince was on the team. Some of the people that are spouting off on social media spaces. So that's where you get all the asinine opinions from people that just don't know what the fuck they're talking about because they're too young. Seriously, and it's not always a young thing. There are very learned youngsters who study the history of the game and are very well educated, but they're not the ones who are so vocal on online spaces that Fiercey's complaining about right now. And I'm the same place with her as far as with them, that they're garbage and just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, y'all. You really, really don't. G's saying off topic, but Messi is joining Miami soccer as if they need more to be happy about this year. Oh, the Miami team down there? That's interesting. Yeah, whatever. There was a big debate about the Miami fans recently about, somebody's saying that they've sold out every year since like 2010. And well, they sell out, but nobody's at the games. What is that? Well, the fans are really shitty about coming to the game on time. And they kind of just show up to be seen for a second and then they leave. So quite often in the Miami arena, it looks like there's nobody there. Well, they've already sold out the arena and sold the tickets, but nobody shows up. So okay, you can brag about having so many sellouts, Miami, but you know what? Half the time your fans are half there anyway, even if you're selling them out. Let's see, Trevor J saying those fake Raptors fans like the neighborhood nosy neighbor, always in your business. Like that song says, mind your business and leave people's business alone. Yeah, I mean, kind of understand what Trevor's saying here. I mean, it's just that everybody doesn't like unknowns. Nobody likes mystery. They want to just know who's our coach going to be, and they get a little weird. Like everybody has a different personality, and some of them may get really anxious and scared. Some of them may be calm, cool, and collected, like Cool Cat. She says, "No worry about this." She trusts in Messiah that they'll get done. But some people are panicking. Some people are freaking out. Oh, we don't have a coach. Everybody else hired a coach. And they act out and say stupid shit when they're freaked out like that. So that's a big factor in it right there. Is they just want the unknown to be known, and so they act out of pocket. That's totally what it is. Mike saying some fans are mad because Masai hasn't traded for bad culture names to try and win, aka what the Bulls did with DeRozan. Then the other fans want tanking for flashy hype prospects. So there will always be BS. Yeah, listen, youngsters. Youngsters are not the way to win in the NBA at this point. Look at the teams that are in the finals right now and the way they're built. You got to build them right. First of all, look at the slow cook and roast of the Denver Nuggets over the last 8 years to get to the finals finally. They've had misery and failure at every level of the playoffs up until this point, and they really built and cooked this for a long time to get to this point. They could have destroyed their team at any time in the last 8 years in folly, but they had a vision and they knew if they stuck to it, it would go through at some point. And that's the thing that youngsters don't realize about the NBA. It's not something that you just go and get for 1 year. It's something you build over like 5 or 8 years. And that the old NBA was exactly like this. The core of the Pistons rose up and finally beat the Lakers. The core of the Bulls finally rose up and beat the Pistons. This is just how it goes, y'all. And if you want to keep tearing down and building up, tearing down, build up, go cheer for the Philadelphia 76ers or something like that. Because that's not the way you build successful championship teams in the NBA. You got to build them up over years. And the way y'all are so disposable with everything, you'll never get anywhere. So y'all shut up talking about young prospects. Those people I have the least amount of faith in at this point. Scoot Henderson, whoever y'all are talking about will magically be better. Bullshit. No youngsters coming in to save us unless his name is Victor. So I don't care about the draft. I don't care about young players coming in. I want good, established NBA players coming to our team. Maybe guys who are just after their rookie contract and they're looking for their first kind of contract that's not super huge, but they're kind of in a good place, like Gary Trent Jr. was when we acquired him. So I'm sick of the overvaluing of youngsters that are flashy, ESPN highlights, that don't fundamentally play well. Youngsters are not trained the same way that NBA players used to be trained, and they have to go through so much more to get to a good place than they used to. You draft somebody who's 20 years old, they sometimes don't get good until 25. It's because they don't go to college. So there's all kinds of reasons. So just stop overvaluing draft picks and young prospects to come and save us. They're not going to save us. Somebody who's going to save us is somebody like PJ Tucker who come and save us instead of somebody like that. So yeah, I'm sick of it. They don't understand that you take time to build a core and develop it over years. And that's why all the experts, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, and the ESPN heads and the former players are saying Raptors do not need to tear up their roster because they have a good core. They need to develop and continue to let cook in that slow roaster and get better and better and better. So everybody's like, get rid of Pascal, get rid of Fred, get rid of OG, get rid of this, get rid of that. Shut the fuck up. We're staying with this core. We've seen it, and that's why we got Jakob Poeltl. So there we go. I love it. Let's get them. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Buck Thorne is saying with the 2037 select, with their 2037 selection, the Toronto Raptors select Fred VanVleet Jr. out of Wichita State. Mike's saying there's a process to build a sustainable winning team with the meta of the league's ways of acquiring talent. You have to craft a plan over years and not flip-flop like the Nets did and get nowhere. Yeah, the Nets are another good example of like different cooks in the kitchen, different ideas and schemes. You know, you try this big three, it fails. You know, the core before that was actually a core that could have been growing into something good with Jared Allen and Karis LeVert and those guys when they were in Brooklyn. That's the thing. Impatience is a killer for your team. You're impatient. Well, next time you're impatient, you just destroy it again. You never get anywhere. You can ask the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, when James Harden walks out of there and goes to Houston, they're going to be kind of rebuilding again to a degree. And, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to just keep tearing it down. So you have to keep building it up. You want to get going with your core and really like mix it up and get them all good together. Think about the Bulls core of the 90s. It stayed pretty much close together the whole time. In fact, the NBA was more about keeping cores together and identities on teams back then. It's such a shuffle up your identity kind of league at this point with so much free agency, so many people switching teams so much. And the caliber of players that can switch teams now are all the way up to LeBron James, the height, the top of players in the league. Before it was like every team had a franchise player and they just stuck with that team and they didn't go anywhere from that team. That's why Reggie Miller was a Pacer his whole career. That's why Karl Malone was pretty much a Jazz for his whole career, but not totally, because they kept franchise players, the best player on the team for long term. It's not that way anymore. So this is what we're saying. We want to be like Denver. We don't want to be like Philadelphia. We don't want to be like Brooklyn. We want to be like Denver. That's the way to go. Even Sacramento is starting to show those signs. Even though they did a shuffle up and deal a couple of years ago, there's some underlying stuff that's finally showing up to get them success also. All right, let's keep going. G saying, just read Sergio had his second interview on Monday via Skype, and they should have a decision by the end of the week. Thank you, G. That's right, Buckthorn. Thank you, G. Bam, bam. Good for information. So Sergio had his Skype interview on Monday, and they should have the decision by the end of this week. Josh Lewinberg did say last week he thinks the Raptors will have a new coach by Friday. Well, today's Wednesday. There's 48 hours, Bobby and Masai. You're on the clock. Let's see if you get it done by then. Tom Duke saying, and with the 2037 selection, the Toronto Tri-Tops select DR DeRozan. Damn, Tom, bringing up DR DeRozan on our stream today. How can we be mad at her? It's one of our Groats' young daughter. We can't be mad at her for what she did. Oh, my gosh. All right, G saying, my bad. Inter Miami, our favorites to sign Messi, hasn't signed yet. Yeah, whatever. Miami is having a nice little time with the Panthers and the Heat in the finals. I think that Vegas is going to beat them, and so is Denver. So they can get the finals, but I don't think either one of them are going to win championships. So you go Vegas Golden Knights, and you go Denver Nuggets and win your championships. That's right. Buckthorn is laughing at Tom. I like it. Buckthorn saying 2045 DR and Fred VanVleet Jr. get married. Whoa, this is really a Raptor stream now. We're talking about Fred VanVleet Jr. getting married to DR DeRozan. Now, he would be marrying an older woman. Yeah, okay. Raptors, marriages. Uh-oh, the phone's ringing here. I ain't answering it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Buckthorn saying it's official. DR DeRozan and Fred VanVleet will be married? No, it's not official. All right, let me just finish this up real quick. I'm not going to try and talk over this. All right, it's done. Okay, I see. David Saborin saying, honestly, I know you love Fred, but I really don't expect to see him in a Raptors jersey. And to be frank, it's probably for the best. If you don't agree, what will change from last year to make it better? Well, I don't know. I'm not smarter than Bobby and Masai, but that may be the person. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the signs are showing that Fred won't be in Raptors jersey next year. But, it's a sentimental thing in some ways. I don't like hearing that. But I also understand what you're saying. It may be the best thing for our team. And I will bite that bullet if it happens. So, listen, I'm not ever going to advocate that I want Fred to leave this team. I understand how important he is and integral to a lot of things we've done in the last couple of years. And a lot of Raptor fans may think he's easy to just throw out with the garbage. But they're wrong, and they should respect him a lot more in the way that understand how important he is as a leader and some of the things he's doing on our team. So I don't take lightly him leaving and saying, oh, I want him to get off this team, because in some ways I don't, because I think we do really need him still. But if he does leave, that'll mean that they figured out we can figure this out without him, and that we may be better without him. So we'll have to see. And it may be a money thing. It may very much be a money thing. So I'm just going to go with the flow. And as it happens, we'll react and talk about it. And, hopefully Masai and Bobby make really, really good decisions now. So that in the future, the Raptors are in a really good position to win championships. And that's all that we're really talking about on this channel is they got to make decisions in the present now to set us up for the future. The coaching decision, the decisions with Fred and Gary, and things like that. So, Sheer Khan saying, technically, we are only halfway to our finals trip. Doesn't even matter what the record is in the meantime, as long as players are developing along the way. Only thing that matters. Let's go, Scotty. That's right. We're growing. We're a young team. The last couple of years, we have skewed as one of the younger teams in the league. And on average, we're younger than most teams. We're young like the Thunder, young like the Grizzlies. And, that is something that says something about where we are with our development and where we should be with winning in like a few years from now. That any Raptor fans who want to go and try and steal the cup by like thinking that we trade for the third pick with Portland and get Scoot Henderson, all of a sudden we're going to be a cup like a challenger. No. We still got to build this up. And in fact, we get more young players we have to integrate and develop and learn. It's going to prolong how long it takes for us to be contending for a championship. So in some ways, I want Scotty to be the baby. I want him to be the baby boy that is the youngest person in this core that we're trying to build up. And we keep these guys that are above him and older than him with him. And we add some young guys along the way, Koloko's older than Scotty, just so you know. And then, our draft pick this year will probably be the youngest guy on the team's next. So I don't want a bunch of youngsters coming up underneath Scott. I want Scott to work with guys who are older than him because that'll be better. Trust me, it'll be better for Scotty and it'll be better for our team getting closer to a championship sooner in some ways. So, all right, let's keep going. Buckthorn saying Lex spitting Fuco. What is that in Italian? Fuco? That sounds like a bad word. Fuco. Alistair's here. Good to see Alistair, original Raptor freak. Alistair 49 is in the house. We love you, Alistair. We're still a winning team. We don't need this draft. We got Jeff Doughton, Gabe Brown off 905 and our 13th pick. Bench mob coming soon. Joe Wieskamp is going to step up and start bombing those threes. Otto Porter Jr. back in the lineup after a year off because of his injury to his foot. Yeah, we may have a little bit of a reload in our roster without even really doing a whole lot of like moves because Otto comes back, Gabe Brown comes into training camp and he shows something and all of a sudden he's just like on our team. Well, we didn't have to do anything. We just had him in development coming up through the 905 and boom, all of a sudden he's a guy who's actually on our roster. I could see that. Gabe is the right size and he has the right skills. He's a good defender and he hits threes. He attacks the rim. I think Gabe Brown should be on the Raptors roster next season, and hopefully he'll do really well in training camp. Maybe because we have an extra spot in the roster because of the new CBA, there's 3 two-ways now. So there may be a spot on one of those 3 two-ways for Gabe Brown also this year. And that may mean he gets more time on the Raptors main roster this year that he didn't at all last year because he was only 905. Well, I see a path for Gabe Brown to get on the Raptors. And hopefully he does. We'll have to see. Because he's somebody that we don't mention enough, and he is definitely in the mix. He's definitely in our possible future plans. G saying, I have been in and out of following the draft picks. Jalen Hood, Shifino, and Scotty both with no-look passes would be fun. Anyone have opinions on Jalen? I don't even know that name. I haven't seen any clips of him, G. I really have not been following the draft prospects like I should right now. Listen, if y'all really want to know more about the draft prospects, and I'm not talking about it enough, check out Basketball Rewind. Basketball Rewind is another YouTube channel hosted by Van Hoot, who comes in here all the time. And he's really going heavy on all the prospects that the Raptors may take around number 13. They really, really have nice discussions about the different young players coming in. It's not my forte. I'm not really good with college basketball, so I'm not really good at this. Last year, I would have said go check out Gubstown Clink because he's very good at looking at this stuff. I don't even know what Greg's doing right now. He has been very busy, obviously, because he's not making any content. But Van Hoot, Basketball Rewind, is the channel for you to get some good discussions about the Raptors in the draft and who they could possibly pick. So I highly recommend that channel. Fiercely saying, Lex, Masai is calling to say our wishes were granted. New coach announcement today. Seriously? Is that up right now? Is that saying that? Oh, cool. Maybe it'll happen while I'm still on here and we can talk about it when it happens. Mike's saying, not going to lie, David, the answer is the year before last, where he led the team to the playoffs and sacrificed his health to lock us into a playoff position. So do you throw out a proven guy with other issue when other issues were in effect? Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Mike. Fred is very touchy. We got to be very careful about what happens with Fred this summer. I really hope that he'll work with us just like Kyle did. If he is going to move somewhere for more money and do a sign and trade, he could do us dirty and just like go and take somebody else's money. But I don't think he's that kind of guy. And so it's really kind of be like if it's like Kyle, that'll show the respect and love to us as he leaves because they made it into a sign and trade. So even if he leaves, he can be like Kyle left when he went to Miami, and we can still appreciate and celebrate him. If it's done in a way where we get something back, especially if in that sign and trade, we're getting a capable point guard that can kind of replace him. He won't fully replace him, but at least he'll be an adequate replacement. That would really help. So we'll see. Whatever happens with Fred will be after the draft, and it may be about a month from now, maybe a little longer. Let's see. Shir Khan saying if Fred is back, it's going to be his regular role. None of that off the ball crap. Not natural for him. Scotty is going to be the second ball handler like LeBron. Spicy's going to improve scoring. And OG, oh my. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to really depend on the coach. The coach will come in and dictate how the system's going to run and who's going to get the ball, who's going to be off ball, who's going to be the ball handler, who's going to expect to get water to them more, like Pascal. It's going to be a lot of that. It could be very much that like the new coach does not do things anything like Nick, and that in some ways Fred may having to retrain who he's going to be in our offense. He's willing to do this. Fred just wants to win. He will morph and change his game as he needs to help the Raptors win. He's proven that over and over again in different places in his career with the Raptors. So I do trust him for that. But yeah, I've talked a little bit about an idea about him being our bench mob captain off the bench as the first point guard, the backup point guard. But he's really about to enter this big money. It's really kind of crazy for him to be a backup point guard if he's going to make that much money. But I think that it would have saved a lot of our bench problems, having him as the leader of the bench mob, just like he was before. Because when he was the leader of the bench mob on the Raptors with DeMar and Kyle on the team, that team was so good with so many good bench players. In some ways, you want to see if you can rediscover that with Fred back on the bench again. But it's not going to be appealing to him. And honestly, he could go start for a lot of teams in this league. So it's like if we could get him to be the backup point guard, that's a long shot. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. He's going to get some starting point guard money. So he can't really be a backup. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer, one of the great Raptor freaks, is very much regularly here and always has an interesting opinion. He's down in the Caribbean recently. Greetings from Jamaica. He looks like he's in Jamaica because I can fill in those X's. We love our core. A learned, motivational, accomplished coach, and the Raptors should fulfill our potential. I want to see Fred back. However, it's a business. The Raptor freak gets it. Yeah, it's a business. We understand. And listen, I don't want to have hard feelings with Fred. There's going to be enough people in our nation that are going to make fun of him and say stupid out of pocket shit that isn't respectful to a legend in our Raptors franchise history. And so let's not be like them. If Fred leaves, and even if it's a little bit ugly, let's be kind to him and nice because he really has earned it with us. And he is absolutely a Toronto Raptors legend forever. And that's not changing no matter what happens. I'm sorry. He could piss me off like Nick just did, and I probably still like him. Nick, it's a different story. So we'll have to see what happens with Fred. Another big question mark this summer. David saying, what do you mean none of that off the ball stuff? He's a shooting guard generally and shoots great with catch and shoots. Listen, we want Fred to be either. He is really like Steph. He's like Steph Curry. He's a point guard hybrid to a shooting guard at this point, and he can do either. In some ways we want him to be off the ball and shooting with Scotty and Pascal passing to him. But in some ways we need him to have the ball, especially in crunch times. It's kind of better to have him managing the last 5 minutes of the game with the ball and finding who should get the shots at that point. It's just, I think the big thing that we're going to find as Raptors fans is that the Raptors are way more good at finishing the game when they're not run so ragged with minutes the whole game. That I blame a lot of our poor execution in late game situations on the fact that these dudes play 35 to 40 minutes and they're absolutely gassed by the end of the game when Siakam has the hardest defense to go against, and Fred's tired by that point. He's just put so much effort into it. These guys just don't have the energy to meet and close the game out against a team that may have rested better their players and they are in better shape right at the end of the game. I really feel like that was one of the biggest things that Nick Nurse mismanaged was getting guys fresh in the game. He overran them all over the place, and everybody seemed tired all the time. So maybe a new coach will be able to balance the roster and the rotation a little bit better so that we have fresher players on the court all the time. And none of this absolutely tired right at the end of the game so we can't close it out to win kind of bullshit from last year. So, all right, let's keep going. Iceman, like Gervin is saying, also, the new head coach has to put his coaching staff in place. Jim Sand, Rico Hines are returning. Summer League starts in early July. Cason Wallace, Raptors rumors after his Atlanta workout canceled. Ooh, yeah. A lot of us are high on Cason Wallace. I know that Monique, the superfan Lawrence, has been posting him in her IG stories lately. Yeah, I love what you're saying here. I'm really happy that we have the keeping of Rico and Jim Sand. I speculate that Jamal is still around too, Jamal McGlure. But other than that, I don't know if anybody else is going to be around other than like Dr. McKechnie and other people like that. But yeah, this is something like the other teams are doing now is snapping up assistant coaches. Like Boston just got Sam Cassell. We're hearing things like I said, Phil Handy's probably going to Phoenix. Kevin Young staying in Phoenix. They're starting to solidify their coaching staffs, and we still don't have a head coach. Well, some ways people may worry, like, oh, well, we're not going to get good assistant coaches if all of them are getting snapped up here and there. Like Terry Stotts is going to coach with Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee. What are the Raptors going to do? Well, I fully expect if we hire one of these 3 European coaches, we may very much get some of their own people from their own country, or, who knows? I do worry a little bit about this, like missing out, like because our head coach is taking so long that some of the assistant coaches could be a problem. Like we couldn't have, but I think every coach has kind of their own inner circle of friends and good coaches that they like to work with. Hopefully they'll have some interesting ones coming in. And who knows, maybe Bobby Masai will pull off something where a couple of their candidates do actually join our staff. Maybe one of them will be in as assistant coach. I don't know. We'll have to see. Really cool to have you here, Iceman. Seriously. Fiercely saying, no, I meant when you were getting that phone call a few minutes ago, it was Masai. Oh, the phone call here. Well, I don't know why they call Adriana's house. I could have played it like that, I guess. And hello, Masai? Yeah. Who are you going to hire as the head coach? Could you tell me? No, I'm not Doug Smith. I'm the Raptors freak. You know me. I'm on in the morning. You guys watch me sometimes. I know you do because sometimes you do things that I say in the morning before everybody knows it. You can't tell me. It's not the guy from Forbes, right? You're not hiring him as your head coach, right? Okay, good. I would be worried if you did. All right. Yeah, okay. All right. All right. Well, I'll just wait like everybody else. I appreciate it. God bless you, Masai. And everything you got to do right now. I give you so much luck and power, and just make the right decisions. You and Bobby will make these right decisions this summer, and we'll have such good a future for the Raptors coming up. All right. I thank you, Masai. We love you. The Raptor Freak love you so much. And just have a great day. We'll be waiting. We'll be patient. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretend talking to Messiah on the phone. It's not even open. Oh. All right. Let's keep going. Mike is saying when other issues were hurting our team this year, it's not logical to blame Fred VanVleet for things out of his control, especially in estimating his true value. Hence, teams really are interested in him. Listen, I really want to make this clear with Raptors fans and nation that the political playbook of smearing people like Joe Biden, Justin Trudeau, and other people is being used in basketball at this point. They smeared Fred VanVleet all season. There's people from other fan nations, people that aren't really Raptor fans that are in our ecosystem that are spouting off and being so loud, and they're not like good forces. They're destructive forces. They're agents of chaos. They could be Celtics fans acting like they're Raptors fans and just trying to cause problems. I really fully blame part of the problems with Nick Nurse this season and what happened with him on these forces. And we need to realize there's idiots out there coming after Masai now in the same kind of way. They did the same thing to Fred. That a lot of these people that are negative about Raptors people are not our people. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody who's in our fan nation who's being overly negative, fuck them. Because we need to shine a light. We need to stay positive and we need to build and create and stop having a destroy mentality. And there's so many voices on social media that are Raptors fans that are not, because the way they want to destroy everything is just not realistic. It's not good for us. It's not good for our entertainment. It really does smack of agents of chaos from other places trying to stir the pot and make things worse. Now, if you're a Raptors fan and you don't like what I just said, well, go do it to the Celtics Nation. Go make an account with a little leprechaun on it and act like you're a Boston fan and go in there and stir the pot. Start talking about how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can't fit together and how we need to trade Jaylen Brown right now to the Houston Rockets. Go do that this morning. And then you'll realize just how easy it is for somebody to come into our fan nation and do exactly what I just said. So, yeah, some of y'all that love being kind of controversial and trollish, go do that today. Go in there and join the Sixers nation and start blowing it up from the inside by acting like you're a Sixers fan. Seriously, there's a lot of people doing this these days, and there's a lot of them in our fan nation. And the people that are talking, they want Masai's head are people like that. Seriously. Let's keep going. Let's see. I am at Shere Khan. I like Hood Shafino. Jacob from AHS is going to do a profile soon. Bilal is our dark horse because Masai was scouting him when he was in France. Kaysen is the only one who worked out in Toronto, though. Nick Smith Jr. has also been confirmed to have worked out in Toronto also. So there's at least those two guys that worked out in Toronto. I even think Keontae George has been confirmed to have worked out in Toronto also, just so you know. Bilal, he's really getting his stock is just increased since Victor put him on blast on his Twitter. And now the secret's out, and he could be a top 10 pick at this point. If he's at 13 and we take Bilal Coulibaly, I will not be upset. Seriously. David's saying, ironically, 2 years ago, I told my brother when we were discussing Fred and his contract, I said, the good thing about Fred is he doesn't have an ego. Well, he made it clear this year I couldn't been more wrong. Listen, Fred has an ego, but it's a healthy ego. It's not an ego that is like bad in a way. He has to be cocky and be a certain way to be who he is at his height and do what he's done. And that's not something you should hold against him. In fact, in some ways, I think that that's a good quality of his. He's a very humble dude. I've talked to him in person, and I know how he is as a person just from that 10 minutes that I talked to him. He's very, very humble dude. He's not one of these guys you think that he's like this or like that. He's very misunderstood. In some ways, his cockiness is because he has to be that way to be who he is at the level he's at. And it's not something that's destructive or wrong. He's a very good person, and he's really good with his teammates. And there's all the noise about him being a problem with Scotty or other people on the team has all been absolute bullshit. So, yeah. I don't know, David. I think that his ego is not really a problem. It's necessary for him to be who he is. And that if you think that his ego is causing problems for our team, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Buckthorn's saying Foucault, fire. Fire. Okay, that's the word for fire in Italian. Good to know. Josh Monroe's here. Good to see Raptor Free Josh Monroe. Raptors have to get third or fourth pick to guarantee they get the guard they want because Kaysen Wallace and Anthony Black are going early on. Yeah, I don't know if they'll go that early, though, Josh. I mean, it's really looking like Victor, Scoot, what's his name, Brandon Miller, and then you start talking about Amen Thompson and Osser and, those that in there, maybe Anthony Black. But, listen, I'm not worried about getting up higher. I don't want to trade a good known player on our team just for a prospect that could be kind of garbage and not pan out. I don't think trading Pascal or OG to move up in this draft is smart. I do not endorse it in any kind of way. I'm very happy with having the 13th pick because it seems like the 13th pick is not that far off from the 5th pick to like the 15th pick in this draft class. The talent all seems to be kind of around the same. If we trust in Masai and Bobby and know that their acumen and their penchant for picking the very best person that's available at that time, like Koloko last year in the second round was genius. Seriously, the fact that they got Coloco in a 30th pick is insane. So just imagine what they can do with the 13th pick with a talent that from 5 to 15 is really kind of negligible, the differences in the players around there. So whoever's available at 13 that hasn't been picked already, they're going to make the best pick at that time. I've had full confidence in our front office. There's some things about the Raptors that I have a lot of confidence in. That's drafting players and picking head coaches. Those are two things I have a lot of confidence in them. Maybe the rest of some people in Raptors Nation don't have a lot of confidence in that kind of stuff, but I do. I really do. Nick Nurse was a home run. And look, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal, these are amazing, incredible picks by this front office that we've had for a while. And why would we even question them? This is their best skill, is picking players in the draft and getting personnel for the team. So I'm not worried about all that. That's for sure. Yeah, you like that Masai call? Sometimes it is fun when I call people on the phone. If I call Nick now, I'm gonna be cussing him at this point. No more politeness with Nick on the phone. No, if I call Nick, it's gonna be cussing. Mike's saying, who's to say other assistants don't just want a new place that have a job currently similar to the Boston situation and their assistant coaches? The head coach we hire could appeal to other assistants looking. Yeah, this could be true. We could lure away a couple people from other teams and stuff like that. The dust isn't settled on all this anyway. There's still time for people to shift around and have jobs and go to this place and go to that place. It just seems like a lot of the other teams are really solidifying their staffs and just kind of getting the different assistant coaches that are out there. I'm not worried about all this. In fact, I'd like, if Darko takes the job, I'd like him to bring in all his own people and really feel as comfortable as possible with the staff underneath him. So, Sheer Constant, I like Nick Smith Jr. as well. He was playing injured and still did okay. Honestly, we can't go wrong with any of these players. The teams ahead of us are also looking at the same players. Nail the pick. That's what I'm saying. Like, we'll make the best of what's still around at 13th. Yeah, so what if we don't get Anthony Black? So what if we don't get a Thompson twin? We may get Bilal. We may get Kaysen. We may get Keontae. We may get whatchamacallit. They've been talking about so much about the kid from Connecticut, Hawkins. So there's gonna be good players around that spot no matter what, and then we'll see who it's gonna be from Masai and Bobby, and hopefully it'll be a home run. Pow, knock it out of the park. Yeah, nail the pick, as Sheer Khan said. All right, I appreciate everybody kind of slowing down on the comments because we're getting to an hour and 20 minutes at this point. Let me just go recap everything we've been talking about today. Talking about Darko Rajakovic, y'all. He is really an interesting guy. He's 44 years old from Serbia. He had very much early success in his coaching career, coaching youth teams in Serbia to championships there. And then he spent time with Lute Olson at the University of Arizona and Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. So he has some really interesting early influences when he was young. And then he went and worked as a scouting consultant for the San Antonio Spurs for about 7 years. That's a big feather in his cap as far as experience working with the Spurs organization. And then he's had a lot of success in different places. He played in he had coached in the Spanish league, did quite well there. And then he was the first ever European head coach in G League history, coaching the Tulsa 66ers. And he had a part in coaching Reggie Jackson, Jeremy Lamb, and Andre Roberson at that team. And then, of course, he's had his tenures with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Phoenix Suns, and the Memphis Grizzlies as an assistant coach. And he very much is getting a lot of credit for the upsurge of the Memphis Grizzlies in the last couple of years with their offense. That a lot of people really give him a lot of credit for a lot of cool development with Jaren Jackson Jr., Zaire Williamson, Desmond Bain, people like that. So he has a lot of cool stuff going on with him as far as being a coach. So, and I like the fact that he has two sides to him. He has an X's and O's side that's very, very technical. And then he's also got a very people skills side too, where he can be very much cool with people and like smooth things over. He can kind of be good and bad with people, depending on stuff. As Shirkan saying, smash the like button before you leave for the algorithm. And Mike saying, W Stream, I appreciate y'all with your support. Oh, really big news. In fact, I'm glad I didn't forget about this. Y'all, Matt Devlin had an accident in the last day or so. He broke his foot really badly in a workout. He dropped the 35-pound weight on his foot, and he is in a huge cast now. Now, he's recently been calling Blue Jays games for the Blue Jays. But he's not going to be able to do anything for the rest of the summer at this point. He's going to be laid out for 3 months, and he's hoping he'll be recovered for Raptors training camp. So our play-by-play announcer is on the DL, y'all. He's got an injury, and it's a pretty bad one. He had to have surgery, and he probably cracked up his foot pretty bad, dropping a 35-pound weight on it. So, yeah, send good wishes and vibes to Matt Devlin, who has a broken foot right now. And I hate seeing that. And his saying his summer had a whole bunch of plans. He's got to change now because of what he's got to do to rehab to get back. So we hate hearing this, Matt. We hope you get good, positive, healing vibes as quickly as possible. And we look forward to your call in the next season of the Raptors for sure. We know you'll be there. We know you'll be there, Ron Burgundy. That's right. Yeah. Once again, our refs tonight. Finals game 3, Tony Brothers, Josh Tiven, and Kevin Scott. All 3 of them statistically favor the Denver Nuggets in their history. All right, there you go. Shirkan saying, oh my, I hope he gets well soon. Media go. Yeah, Matt Devlin, send him that healing vibes. The man is laid up in a cast now for the rest of the summer. That always sucks. Like you get through your whole school year and you're a kid and then you like break your leg or something like that. And you have your summer taken away from you. Has that ever happened to anybody in this stream? I know that's happened to people in the past. I don't remember it happening to me, but I remember friends that were like, we'd look forward to going for the summer and doing fun things. And then they get hurt and then they wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm like, it sucks. It just happens sometimes. Oh, well. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Definitely share. If you have friends that love the Raptors like we do, and you're trying to stay positive in a very chaotic, toxic Raptors fan nation that's really out of pocket half the time, really, seriously, definitely tell them about us. And hopefully they can find a home with us from time to time. Every single morning, 9:30 a.m., we are talking daily Raptor stuff here, at least for a little while. And there's all kinds of stupid comedy and stuff going on here with my good friend Buckthorn and my little furry friend Justin Beaver. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow, I promise. Thursday Think Tank tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a little bit more in depth on the head coach search. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the draft finally. Since we are getting closer and closer to the draft, I'm going to have to do a draft think tank at some point. Maybe not this week. Maybe we'll still continue with the coaches stuff. Maybe they will hire somebody today and we'll be reacting to it tomorrow. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Let's go Raptors. Yeah, baby. Don't break it down. We are building. We're not trying to destroy. Stop it, toxic Raptors nation. Just shut the fuck up.